All right, everybody, we got the NFC North today. Justin, man, what you got for me with these Packers?
Easily, man. We talk about the Packers, man. Aaron Rodgers coming out the gate hot. Everybody talking about him. He was one of the biggest talked about quarterbacks. Wasn't even drafted and talked about. Um, Packers made a crazy decision to trade up for Jordan Love. I think Aaron Rodgers comes into this season with a huge chip on his shoulder, man. He's gonna come out hot. He's gonna come out firing. He's coming out more or less preparing to look for another job.
Mm,
He kind of said in an interview he expects young quarterbacks to play, and if they're gonna, if you get drafted in the first round, expect to play and play soon. I don't think Jordan Love will touch the field this year. I think they're gonna kind of do the same thing he did. He's gonna sit, and he's gonna sit, and Jordan Love will just get to learn and learn and learn. And Aaron Rodgers is going to hopefully mold this guy into what the Packers want. And then, a year or two from now, they're going to give him the boot. And so he's playing with that chip on his shoulder like he's auditioning for a new job.
sure.
Um, he's got receivers around him. I love Devontae Adams. I think he's one of the best offensive line oh my offensive receivers out there in the game. Um, Aaron Rodgers has been Aaron Rodgers has been with him for a couple years now, and they produce. They do well in the red zone. He's his number one target in the red zone. They got it down. Marquez Valdez Scantling,
Best name in the game.
absolutely one of the hardest names in the game.
There you go.
Absolutely, the guy is going to be a monster.
Is he? Okay.
He's taken some time to develop, but I do believe him and Aaron Rodgers are becoming on the same page. Uh, I watched a couple of highlights of him actually pretty recently, and you can see. Well, they're not really highlights; they're actually just Aaron Rodgers getting mad at him because he's not running the right routes. So the guy is just young. He's gonna produce. He's gonna get there. He's been with Aaron Rodgers. He's got to learn from Aaron Rodgers, and I think he's gonna turn it up this year. And
Okay.
they're gonna have another receiver to worry about out there. Um, the Packers have always done well on offensive line. They don't really struggle there. Not much has changed, but Jordan Love is obviously the biggest change on their offense, and he's going to be their biggest question mark throughout the season, which isn't a bad thing for a backup. I mean, if that's your biggest question mark on offense,
Sure.
can't be mad at that.
Sure.
Um, Mercedes Lewis at tight end, not much to say about him. He's just a guy that can do well and produce. Um, Aaron Rodgers throwing the ball, you better be able to produce. So we can go ahead and move on to this defense. You've got a fairly young Jair Alexander and Darnell Savage holding it down. Adrian Amos as well back there, kind of leading the pack. This defense is lacklustering superstars, but they are good all around. They are the Packer way. They just are good.
Sure.
There's not much else to say about them. There's not many superstars, not many guys around there. Darius Smith is a great guy as well to talk about for them, but this defense is just going to be as good as they were last year, I think.
Yeah, both the Smiths coming off the edge. And like you
Yep.
said, they don't have any big name guys. They don't have J.J. Watt. They don't have Joey Bosa coming off the edge. But this is just a solid unit for sure.
Yeah, absolutely, man. But this team is I think honestly before we even get to the end, a lock for the number one position
A
in this
lock.
division.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
I like it. I like it. Oh man, we're gonna go ahead and jump into the Lions here.
Alrighty.
I think the biggest thing I fear for the Lions, man, is they didn't get any better this offseason. They lost their number one corner, traded him away, and then they simply replaced him in the first round. And so you look at a team that was 3-12-1 actually, and they have so many questions, on their offensive line, all over their defense, and in their first overall pick in the draft, which should be a huge impact player.
Oh yeah.
They took a corner to replace what was already their best player on defense. And then the second round they drafted DeAndre Swift, and DeAndre Swift's a great running back, but again, you talk about this team's needs, their needs up front on the offensive line. They have on Johnson as a good young running back already, and he got hurt last year, and I know all that. But their biggest need wasn't a backup running back.
I think
It's
their biggest need is at receiver. They have a lot of guys that have been there for years, and they just haven't really helped Matthew Stafford out there. Kenny Galladay is good. Marvin Jones good. Danny Amendola good guys, but like not huge playmakers, not producers. They really don't have any playmakers on this offense. They
okay.
struggle in the receiver position. On Johnson, I think, has been a workhorse. I think he's actually been plagued with the injury bug, man. If I'm not mistaken, I just read that he actually got hurt and he's actually recovering right now. He's on the sideline in training camp.
Oh, okay.
So I think DeAndre Swift is probably going to get a lot more looks than he was expecting coming into the season. But we'll see if he can produce and hope maybe become their superstar because they need somebody to step up on that offense.
They
You
do.
know,
They do.
Matthew Stafford is the only one that can. Matthew Stafford is good, but he can't be the only one to be
Yeah.
producing. And he can only do so much as a quarterback. You get the ball in someone's hands, and it's up to them. And if he doesn't have guys that can make moves and
Yeah.
make people miss and make big plays, they're going to struggle.
No, I hear you. I personally, I think they have plenty of wide receiver. I don't think they've ever had a problem with Matthew Stafford as far as just, putting up numbers, throwing the football. I think their biggest question has always been their offensive line. On Johnson, DeAndre Swift. It doesn't matter who's carrying it if you don't have people, road grading and making holes. It just makes everybody's job harder. They do have a young tight end coming up in T.J. Hawkinson. He was a high draft pick last year, so as he continues to progress, he'll help their pass game and their run game. He's definitely a do-it-all guy.
I just don't. I just the only thing that bothers me with the Lions is Matthew Stafford is known for having a huge arm.
Sure.
He's known for having that big cannon of an arm, and these receivers aren't really built for the deep ball. They're not built for that burner style offense. And this guy can sling it.
He
He
can.
can sling it around, and
He can.
I mean, I just think they need to build
Okay.
a little better at that receiver position and build to what Matthew Stafford can do, and he can sling the rock.
Yeah. No, I mean that's a fair point, and they don't have Calvin Johnson anymore, obviously. None of those guys are anywhere near what Calvin Johnson was. They weren't winning a whole lot of games when they had Calvin Johnson either, though.
Yeah,
So I think man, the best years, for the Lions in recent memory, was the Reggie Bush years. When they were running
yeah,
the football, they had an offensive line that were moving people. And you pair, what Matthew Stafford's done in the pass game with a, capable run game, and I think that's the biggest thing they're lacking.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, we'll
I
jump
just
right into their defense real quick. The Lions did bring in a bunch of defenders. They brought in Jamie Collins. Jamie Collins is back in Detroit.
yep,
Spent a couple years there, went back to New England after being in New England already. Now he's back in Detroit. So he's just flip flopping back and forth. Like I said, they drafted Jeff Okuda. Don't get me wrong when I talk about their first pick, their corner. This guy could be an elite corner for sure. He is a press man corner. And the Lions run the most man coverage in the NFL. So this guy could be the real deal for them. I just when I look at it again, they simply are replacing what was already their best player
right.
by drafting Jeff Okuda. And you look up and down their team. Trey Flowers they brought in as a big time free agent from New England as well. There's just not enough there. They traded for Deron Harmon recently from New England as well. They're just they're gonna be the Detroit Patriots on
Yeah,
defense, and I don't know, man. There's
picking up
just
picking up leftovers.
I feel I'll say it again. This team was 3-12-1, and when I look up and down, did they get any better? Are they gonna get a fourth or fifth win? Man, I really just don't know. I don't think they did enough to address some of their biggest needs and or add playmakers. Like you said, they didn't add the impact guys needed. I think this will be another tough year for the Lions.
Absolutely. Let's go ahead and move on to the Vikings, man. So I got a quick question for you, Dylan.
Ask
Do you
away.
like that?
No,
Do you
I
like
don't.
that?
I don't like that.
Well, Kirk likes that, and he
Kirk
definitely
does.
likes he definitely likes Dalvin Cook, man.
For
That
sure.
guy is going to be a unreal staple for the Vikings. Um, these the Minnesota Vikings can produce with Dalvin Cook, and I think Kirk Cousins is going to do fairly well with everything he's got around him. He just hasn't seemed to produce for some reason after he got that big contract, all the money guaranteed. This team looks. I think it looks pretty freaking good on offense. Adam Thielen is their probably number one receiver now. Justin Jefferson, they just drafted. I think he could be very good. I think he's going to need a year, to develop as a young guy, but I think that he's going to do pretty well. Their offensive line has never really struggled. They've got Kyle Rudolph holding down the tight end position. I love Kyle Rudolph. I think he's been hurt a lot by quarterback play.
Okay.
I think he's one of the best zone tight ends in the game. Um, he's just got to produce, and that I think that actually comes down to the quarterback play. They've got to look more for him. They've got to design stuff around him in the red zone, and he can do it, man. He's a great red zone guy. He produced one year. He had a breakout year, and then all of a sudden he just kind of flatlined. He just kind of Kirk Cousins showed up and he just disappeared in the red zone, which doesn't make sense to me. I think he's
Yeah.
kind of been hurt by that.
Okay.
But let's move on to their defense, man. Jeff Gladney is one of the newest corners, but I think their biggest name on defense is Harrison Smith. I think he's a little old man holding it down back
Yeah.
there. He's not that old, but he's definitely a leader on this team. And this defense has a lot of youth at the back end, but hasn't changed much as well. Anthony Barr still in the linebacker position. This team is going to be just as good as they were. I think a couple years ago we were talking about how good this defense was. I'm interested to see if they can actually continue to be as good as as
Okay.
good as they have been.
Okay. And I know they lost their two starting corners. And so curious to see how, those guys, the new guy, Jeff Gladney, in what they're doing there. Bringing up some young guys. They also lost the defensive end to the Cowboys.
Yep,
So there's a couple holes there that, this is Mike Zimmer's defense though. They've always been a good unit.
yep. He's
So
coached them well.
they should be just fine. I'm really curious to see on offense. Justin Jefferson was considered one of the best slot receivers in the draft coming out of LSU. I don't know if he's just a plug and play Stephon Diggs role type of guy.
Right.
I would say that he almost fits kind of the same mold as Adam Thielen. So
Okay.
I'm curious to see what they do there, and how they use some of these guys, and then yeah, man, like you said, Dalvin Cook needs to stay healthy, and they're probably
Has
gonna
to.
be just fine on offense.
Has to.
Yep.
And he is explosive,
Yep.
so they could be, you know, kind of what you want on offense is a two-headed monster right there.
Yep.
You think we're gonna run the ball? We're gonna throw it over top. We're gonna throw the ball over top. We're gonna hit you right up the middle and just gas you play after play after play. And they're gonna be hard to stop if they can keep Dalvin Cook healthy and they can keep producing in the pass game with Kirk Cousins.
Yep. New offense coordinator coming in. Kirk Cousins is probably getting up there on that 3-year contract. He's probably gonna be a
I
little
think
extra
this is year
motivated.
three. I think this is year three.
So this is contract year for him.
If I'm not mistaken, yeah, I believe it is.
Well, then we may see an extra motivated Kirk Cousins this year. Get a little extra
Yeah,
production out of him.
hopefully, I would hope so.
Awesome, man. Well, let's go ahead and jump into these Bears, dude.
I like them.
I'm excited for the Bears, man. I am. They signed Nick Foles. Nick Foles was looking really good when he was a Jaguar. They decided to go ahead and let him go because of cap reasons, and they have Gardner Minshew there. I think Nick Foles is a instant, it may not instant plug and play quarterback, but um, you know, Mitch Trubisky, the second he has a bad first half, they're going to give Nick Foles an opportunity to come in, and then it'll be his job for the rest of the season. I think this guy gives you, everything you want as far as, simply moving the ball down the field. Um, this Bears defense, man, they're loaded with talent still, and they need from their offense is to move up and down the field consistently.
Yep.
They don't need to put up 40 every week. They're not trying to race anybody, on the scoreboard, anything like that. This defense is plenty capable of carrying this team. They just need a quarterback who can consistently move the ball week in and week out. They did draft a tight end. Their first pick was in the second round. They drafted a tight end out of Notre Dame, Nicole Komet.
Yep.
They also brought in Jimmy Graham, so the tight end should be better. They've had some offensive talent over the years. They just haven't had a quarterback to put it to work. Offensive line is fine. The running back David Montgomery is going into year two. There is a lot of buzz right now about his off season and what he's done and the extra. He's lost body fat. He's put on muscle. One of the things I remember about David Montgomery is in college he was one of the most elusive running backs graded by Pro Football Focus. And we didn't get to see that at all year one. It's hard when you're a running back and you don't have a quarterback. It's hard to have any space to run. Any space to get anything done. I think
Yeah.
you should expect this guy to, to have a big, second year with hopefully Nick Foles at the helm. And then up and down this defense, man. I mean, you still have guys like Khalil Mack, Roquan Swift in the middle. You have Eddie Jackson on the back end, who's right up there. You talk about some of the best young safeties in the game. Eddie Jackson's right up there on that list.
I
This
mean, let's
defense,
let's
go ahead.
let's talk about how dangerous Khalil Mack is with Robert Quinn on the other side.
Robert Quinn from the Cowboys. He was productive enough as a Cowboy, and now
Didn't
he should be right in there. The pass rush is real for the Bears for sure.
I think it's kind of crazy how Robert Quinn kind of goes into the same situation he was in Dallas. He's opposite a big name superstar, Demarcus Lawrence. Now he's opposite,
Khalil
I
Mack,
truly
yeah,
believe, the best pass rusher in the game,
yeah,
Khalil Mack.
yeah.
He's produced and produced and produced, and he's just a quarterback machine. He just eats them up.
He does
So I think that this pass rush is going to be even better,
even better.
with
Right on.
Robert Quinn. Robert Quinn had produced, a lot in the one-on-ones because that's all he got with,
Yeah,
people double teaming and throwing other people the opposite way. And, he took advantage and he did well. If he continues to do that, this D line is going to be a quarterback eating machine.
yeah. I mean, this whole defense, they can
Yeah.
cover on the back end. They've got a lot of talent at corner. They've got a lot of talent in the secondary, just in general. I mean, man, this defense is, like I said, capable of carrying the team. Their biggest struggle last year is their offense couldn't move the football. And
Yep.
when you're turning it over, when you're three and out, your defense they don't even get a chance to play the game. And
Yep.
so, with a little more consistency from the quarterback, it's they're gonna be good this year. They're gonna be good
I
this year
think
for
this
sure.
defense, this defense was gassed a lot in the third quarter, which is actually really, really bad.
Yeah,
If you're on the field a lot, you're going to be tired. You're going to be going on the field tired. You're gonna, if your quarterback goes out there and throws a pick and you're right back on the field, that hurts you a lot. And long term, that's gonna take a toll on them, especially in a 3 hour game more or less.
for sure, for
Uh,
sure.
I think offensively, the biggest question for me for the Bears is this running back position. I don't know if David Montgomery can produce like most other running backs. I'm not sure if he's that workhorse style.
Okay,
I actually really, really like Tariq Cohen.
okay.
I love Tariq Cohen. I think the Bears, he's definitely not, your typical prototype running back. He's a tiny, tiny dude as a running back. But I think he's done so well in the Bears offense. I think they should. I actually believe they should start him. He's tiny, but I think they should start him. He's produced in a lot of ways, and people actually have to worry about him, whether it's first down, second down, or third down. If the guy gets the ball in his hands, he's going to make people miss,
Yeah,
and at least the first man miss, especially if he's in the open field. He's
yeah,
he is a shifty, small running back, and he. I think they could try to break the mold a little bit about that running back position and let him produce because for a while there, man, we were seeing highlight reel after highlight reel of Tariq Cohen breaking runs. Um, I think that's going to be their biggest downfall on offense.
yeah. Well, I think the both of these running backs, whether it's Cohen or Montgomery, they get more of an opportunity to be productive because the quarterback position should be better. This
Yeah.
this offense should have a bit of a downfield threat. And that just creates space for whoever it is that's getting carries for whoever it is. Tariq Cohen, wasn't didn't get the opportunity to be a receiving running back out of the backfield, and he's really good at doing that too. And I think all of those things, get improved this year with Nick Foles as a quarterback for sure.
Okay. I will say I do like Riley Ridley. I think he could eventually become a starter on this offense, but
Okay,
it's going to take some time for him to develop. Brother Calvin Ridley, if I'm not mistaken.
right on.
But
All right, man. Well, when this division's over, when the season's over, I think you said it already. The Packers are a lock. You
yeah,
stay in there.
absolutely, and there's
Okay.
no question about that. They're gonna stay locked in at that position, and they'll continue to be a 10-win team easily.
Okay. Right on. I think the Bears and the Vikings will be an interesting race to kind of see who comes in second here. I agree
Absolutely,
with you that the Packers are right up there. I think Aaron Rodgers is just too good. And if Aaron Rodgers is extra motivated and has a chip on his shoulder, like watch out, everybody.
he's
Um,
gonna play out of his mind.
yeah, they could light up some scoreboards. I'm really curious to see what the Bears bring. If Nick Foles is the guy, if he does add some consistency, you get the opportunity for your defense to carry you. I think they're going to be a much improved team. And then I do think the Vikings losing their corners, losing a defensive end, they're going to kind of take a step back a little bit. So I'm curious to see, where they're at. Who's going to be second, who's going to be third, and then obviously with the Lions, man, I don't know what Lions fans are going to do next season.
Yeah,
They
yeah. They're gonna
this
kick their feet up and tank for. I'm sure there'll be another thing coming out.
Trevor
Tank for
Lawrence,
whoever.
tank for
Yeah, tank
Trevor
for
Lawrence.
Trevor.
So
Tank for Trevor. It's gonna be a new hashtag trend on
and
Twitter.
Matthew Stafford's been there for a long time, man. It may be time to let somebody else have the reins. I don't know if you could trade Matthew Stafford away, or I don't know what the situation is there, but you
I think
know
he's got a.
yeah, I
He does.
tanking
The
for
Bengals.
Trevor
The
Lawrence
Bengals
for sure.
need a new quarterback next year. So no, but I think I agree with you, man. I think the Bears. I think Bears go to number 2 for me.
Okay, right on.
As long as their offense can produce,
Okay,
um, keep the defense off the field.
sure,
If they can keep them off the field, the Bears have easily a playoff defense. I think they'll slide in as a
absolutely,
wild card. Um, they may not win the division, but they'll definitely slide in as a wild card as long as that offense can keep that defense fresh. And if they're fresh, that D line is nasty.
for
I
sure.
think following them is the Vikings. You like that Kirk holding it down up front for them. Dalvin Cook, if he can get this run game going for that team, they could be dangerous. Where I think they struggle is on that defensive side, man. So,
Sure, sure.
and then we already know Lions going to hold it down at the bottom.
They're
Do
gonna
you
hold
think?
it down.
Do you think they go first overall pick next year?
I do. I kind of wrote it down. This is one of my two teams that are in contention for the number one pick. And I think them, you start talking about Trevor Lawrence, you start talking about a new quarterback, going first overall. Uh, that's a very real possibility. If they have that type of season, you're also probably looking at a new coaching staff coming in.
Oh yeah.
I think this is 3 or 4 years now for the guys that are there. So I mean, yeah, man, more.
If they get worse than 3-12, they've got to get rid of some
If they go
coaches.
3-12 again, they got to get somebody else.
That's what I'm
But
saying. Three and
yeah,
12 or under
yeah,
is okay.
yeah.
You know Jason Garrett can do a better job than this.
More rough days ahead for Lions fans, unfortunately.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think that about wraps it up for the NFC North. Dylan, you got anything else you want to say?
Oh man, I think we're good.
All righty, guys. If you guys like this content, man, go ahead and like, subscribe, comment down below. Every week we plan to do this during the football season, break down each division. Um, we're doing kind of a deep dive right now, but let's keep this rolling. Let's keep continuing. Thank you guys for watching.